start because it's time. So I told you that I want to first do some announcements. In fact, I already gave you the dates, but now they're official and complete. I will share this data with you in the WhatsApp group in a moment. So let's have a look at this. Um, this is the official calendar of the exams. Okay, so if we have a look at the first partial, you see that you start on Monday with language. Okay, I think it's nicely organized because you have one exam and then you have one day to prepare yourself. So it's now, in contrary to the past, it's now spread over 2 weeks, which gives you more time to prepare for your partial exams. So I think that's good news. However, it takes a little bit longer, but anyway, you have more time to prepare. So our exam, I think I already told you, it's here on Wednesday, 17th of February, Health and Society, right here, because you're second semester, fourth semester, and sixth semester. Okay. And then if we go to second partial, the ID is the same. The only thing you have to take into account here, that's also something that we haven't done before, is that you see right here is Semana Santa, okay? I don't know if you are happy with this or not. I mean, if I in the other group I said that if I were a student I would not be really happy with it because then I'm not relaxed in Semana Santa. But in the other group they said no, it's okay because after Semana Santa we have mathematics and history, so we can, in case you need, we can prepare better for those exams. Anyway, it is like this, we cannot change it. So if you want to enjoy your Semana Santa fully, then you can definitely make sure that you study a little bit before Semana Santa already for these 3 exams that you have after these holidays. Okay, but I think in the very end, okay, of course, it's not, you're not 100% relaxed in Semana Santa, but on the other hand, the design of this exam calendar, it helps you getting better grades. Only be careful here because I see here mathematics and expresión digital. I would expect this to be on Monday, but it seems not to be the case. I don't know. There's possibly a good reason for it, which I don't know, but just that you know. Anyway, I'm sharing this because I'm also your director of multicultural program, but basically it's the responsibility of each teacher to inform you correctly about their exams, okay? If you want me to share this with you, I can. However, because I think it's nice to have everything together right here, okay? So I guess you would like to have it, right? I share it with you or not?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So let's have a look at the final exams as well. Final exams, one thing you have to be careful with, because in the partials you're used to have one day of preparation for each exam, which is not the case anymore in the final exams, okay? In the final exams, you have some days before, but here you see that language is on the 7th, you have the weekend, then we have health and society, but then it's one day after another. You don't have a day of preparation, so make sure that you don't leave everything for the last moment and that you prepare well for these last exams, okay? Because they are really the most important as well, because they're the final exams, and the content of those exams is of what you see in the whole semester. The partial exams, they're shorter, and you also know that these exams, they take 2 hours each instead of 1 hour each for the partial exam, okay? And then the last thing I want to tell you is, you already see it here. There is some blue dates, which we call unplugged days. Okay, we have 3 of them. The first is on the end of partial 1. And then we have a second one on the beginning of partial 2. And then the third one is just on the end almost of the semester. So what is unplugged day? Unplugged day, it's not a holiday. It's not that you're not gonna have class or you don't have to do anything. However, it is a day that no teacher will ask you to come online. So unplugged day means that nobody will be connected to the internet in those days. The idea, and we don't know yet about each class what you will do, but the idea of these classes is that your teacher will give you an alternative activity which doesn't require you to be connected to the internet. So the idea is that this is a little bit more fun and a bit different than ordinary classes. And the objective is to also have a small reflection about it and to have a mentally and physical healthy day, okay? Anyway, this is something new. It's still in development and the design is still ongoing. Anyway, the institution, Tec de Monterrey, will give you an official communication about the purpose of these days, okay? So this is the only thing I can tell you about it at this moment, but you will be informed in more detail at a later point, okay? So you will be informed personally, and also your parents will be informed what the true objective is of these unplugged days. I think it's nice because anyway, it looks like the whole semester will be online anyway. So it's cool that they're introducing some different things. Okay. Any questions about this calendar? No? Okay. So I'll share it with you over the WhatsApp group. I think it's nice that you have everything together. Anyway, each day will be confirmed by your teacher, okay, of each subject. Okay. Let me send it immediately because otherwise I forget. So multi-generation 11. And then today, what we will have a look at is, in fact, we will have a look at the more into detail what the immune system is all about. Okay. And we will start in a moment with this. So I'm first going to share this with you. I think it should arrive in a moment. Okay. Yeah, in case it doesn't arrive or it doesn't open, let me know and I'll send it again. But I think, yeah, it should be there. Okay, so let's start with our class, guys. So what are we going to do is we're going to see more into more detail the levels of defense. So let me hide my face for a second that you can see my background. So in the background, you can already see this, that we have skin, but I don't like the word skin because in fact it's called non-specific external barriers, but I think they put skin because otherwise it's too long. That's the first thing we will have a look at. You can compare it with a fence around the city. It avoids pathogens, bacteria, virus, parasites to get into the host, into our human body. Then the second one, which we already will touch a little bit today, are the non-specific internal barriers, okay? You can compare this, if you think about war games, as foot soldiers, okay? Foot soldiers that basically attack anything that they see because they're body foreign and they're not allowed to be inside of us, okay? And then the third level of defense we have is like the specific internal ones. And you can compare this to the special forces because special forces, they have a very specific mission. They're smaller in quantity, but they have a mission that they have to do. And when they do the mission, they're specialized in eliminating a certain virus or a certain bacteria or a certain invader. Okay, I think we will not reach the specific internal barriers today. That will be for tomorrow. So hello there, I'm back. Hello, yeah, there we go. So let's have a look at this first thing. So before I share my screen, what is the first barrier all about? Ali, what do you think?
I think it is the skin.
Yes, it's the skin. And you all know that in fact, the skin is the largest organ of our body, right? It has the largest surface. It's really huge. In fact, it's the biggest organ we have. Okay. The first thing I want to tell about skin is that skin, it's not just the skin. The skin also produces a kind of waxy substance, you like greasy, waxy substance. You can feel that on your skin now and then. It really depends on the person. Some people have a little bit more greasy skin. Other persons, they have a drier skin, but we all have the production of this white, waxy, oily stuff on our skin. Okay, and it's there for a very good reason. It's there because this substance is slightly acidic. It causes our acidity of our skin to be around 5.5. Okay, that's why when you go to the supermarket and you buy soap for sensitive skin, you sometimes see like this soap is pH skin pH neutral. Okay, but really neutral pH is 7, is a pH of 7. I don't know if you learned that in secondary school, but our skin has a more acidic pH of 5 to 5.5. And that's why if you buy those soaps, they're slightly acidic in order to protect those slightly acidic coverings of your skin. Okay. So why is it slightly acidic? It's slightly acidic because bacteria do not like that, and it protects our skin protects us of invaders, because our skin could be intact. The idea is that it's intact, but you always have wounds and you always have like certain body openings, in which we will go in a moment, in where bacteria can easily enter the body. So to have this on the skin, it's in fact important. Okay. What else do we have on our skin, Vera Sofia? You're in the car. That's nice.
Sorry, what was the question?
What else our skin has to protect ourselves from bacteria?
Hairs.
Yes, very good. Our whole skin is covered with hairs. Depends on the person. Hairs can like, especially men, we have a little bit more hair in our skin than girls, but also girls, you have hairs everywhere. Okay, they can be really, really small, they can be almost invisible, and they have a very important function, because the hairs, they are connected in the skin through the pores, and it's the pores that produce this waxy substance, and it's the hairs that help distribute them nicely over the skin. So the hairs is very important as well. So now I want to talk about what else our skin has, because our skin, in fact, does quite a good job in protecting us from invading bacteria and viruses. But there is a problem, because we have body openings, Amelia. So tell me, what are our body openings?
I guess you're talking about the pores, right?
No. Body open pores is part of the skin. We don't consider that as body openings.
Then the vital openings, the eyes, the mouth, the ears.
Exactly. Yeah. Eyes, mouth, nose, ear. What else do we have? Gretel? There's 2 more. Don't be shy. You can mention these things in our class. Are you there? No, she's not there. Maria Fernanda Alvarez, what else do we have as body openings? Okay. Anybody? If not, guys, please put your cameras on, because I don't know who's here and who isn't.
Like wounds?
Yeah, wounds. Yeah, but wounds are not natural body openings. We are talking about the lower. So Amelia said it correctly. We have eyes, nose, mouth, and ears, but we also have anus, vagina, or penis, which is considered body openings. Okay. What do all those body openings have in common?
They have like mucosa, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, exactly that. So all those body openings, they are a risk to get infected, okay? You all know that you can get ear infection, you can get throat infection or nose in sinusitis through the nose. You can get infections through the mouth. You can get infections through the eyes. You can get infections in your genitals. Little bit more common with females than with males. And what is not so common is infections of the anus. And I explain you why in a moment. That's not very common. Okay, so all those body openings, they produce also something to protect us. So usually it's always in the shape of a liquid or a mucus, okay? It depends where you're looking at. The eyes have a liquid, the ears, the nose have more like a mucus substance, the mouth has a liquid, the vagina has a liquid, the penis also has a liquid. However, you don't notice that really because, I mean, a penis always has like a very small flow which cleans the ureter of the penis, but there is no... I'm still online or not? Because I got disconnected, I think. No, I'm fine?
Here.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I got frozen or something. Anyway, so
You're presenting your screen though.
Sorry?
You're presenting your screen. I don't know if you
yeah, I don't know what happens. The computer is doing things on their own. So why don't you notice any liquid in the penis? We were there. It's because there is always something flowing through, but basically when a male urinates, there is like a flushy current which always cleans out the ureter. With girls, it's slightly different because the body opening, if we talk about the vagina, is way bigger than a boy, because yeah, of course you provide babies at a certain point in your life, and of course this has to be protected. That's why vaginas produce a liquid which is also acidic, and just like tears and the wax of the ears and the mucus in the nose, what is typical about those liquids that you produce is that they have two types of enzymes in it, okay, mucus. And there are two types of enzymes, and enzymes is basically a protein, and one we call lysosome, okay, lysosome, and the other one is what we call defensin. And these are two enzymes. It's like a protein with a specific function that attacks bacteria. They have more problems with viruses, don't get me wrong. However, they can do things to viruses as well, but usually they kill bacteria by digesting the cell wall, and they make holes. This defensin makes holes in the bacteria plasma membrane, which eliminates them as well. And all of this goes together in this mucus and this waxes that are acidic, and bacteria, they don't like acids, they die off. So what is important, in fact, about this first anatomical defense we have, our skin, our cilia, and our body liquids that we produce, is that you don't get rid of them fully, okay? I already told you in another class, it's never a good idea to wash every day your whole body with soap, because, I mean, you get rid of those protective layers, okay? If you shower every day, which I suppose most of you do, it's a good idea not to soap your whole body every day. Okay, because you need those protective mechanisms that you have. If you start doing that, in fact, you're eliminating bacteria and viruses on an artificial way, and your immune system becomes weaker and weaker. And from the moment you come in contact with the bacteria, the possibility of getting ill only becomes higher. So I'm not saying you have to be dirty and start washing yourself, but just be healthy about it, okay? You don't have to be over clean. If you're over clean and you wash your face twice a day, exception of the hands, the hands, wash them, because really the hands, they cause a lot of infection if you touch your eyes, your nose, I don't know what, your mouth. So be careful with that. But yeah, soap is okay, but not too much, of course. Any questions about this?
All good.
No? So don't forget, we also have sweat, like it says here, secretions like sweat and certain glands we have. They have natural antibiotics, okay? They kill off the bacteria. That's important to know. Then here we have the point of the mucus, the antibacterial proteins, which is lysosome and defensin. Okay, they fight against those microbes. And in this picture, you can see how cilia work. Okay, cilia is like hairs, but they're microscopic small hairs. We all have hairs in our nose. We all have hairs in our ears. And we have also hairs in our cilia, they're not hairs, in our trachea, yeah, okay, because they help to expulse this bacteria out of our body. Okay, that's also why we have pubic hair. It protects our genitals as well, because it helps with the distribution and capturing the distribution of mucus and capturing those bacteria. In the other group, a student had an interesting question, and he said, she said, yeah, but why do you think we still have hair on our head and on our bodies? We don't have hairs so much as several hundred or million years ago. Well, I had to say, I really don't know why we would have hair on our head and on the rest of our body. I mean, it's way less. It depends from person to person, but I believe it has to do with the sun, because the biggest amount of population lives in tropical areas on the equator, and basically our hair does protect us a little bit against the sun. I'm myself really white and blonde, and I could not imagine how I feel already very strong the sun right now, and I think if you have no hair, that even it's more difficult to support this. So I guess it has something to do with this. Okay, so let's go to the next thing. Guys, this is an important thing. So I'm gonna stop sharing a little bit. So we have these body openings, okay? So let's think about the eyes, okay? All of us, I think we got like eye infection at a certain point in our life, or some eye irritation, but usually, let's admit it, it's not that common, okay, that we get an infection of our eyes, because we have all the time tears, and that those tears and those liquids, they have those proteins in it that kill off bacteria, and it's doing really, really a good job, okay? Then we have our ears, okay? Our ears, I would say it's a little bit more common, especially in children, that you get an ear infection, right? If you thought you get dirty water or something, also because the ears, they're connected to the nose. So that's another reason why I believe, Amelia, you look a little bit surprised. You didn't know that?
I just immediately imagine myself breathing through my ears.
Okay, no, but our ears are connected to our nose. It's called the tube of Eustachius, and it helps to regulate the pressure, because there is like the membrane in our ears, and the pressure has to be on the both sides, has to be the same, otherwise it hurts. I don't know if you ever flew in an airplane, but if you go up and down, sometimes it pops and it hurts, and then you have to equalize, or they say eat chewing gum, and that's because the pressure on both sides, it's not the same, and then it starts hurting. This is typically the case when you have mucus in your nose, or you have sinusitis, or you have a cold or something. When it's clogged, then usually you have the problem that the pressure is different, and it can be very painful indeed. So in our ears, we can have infection, it's quite common. But what's the most common, if we talk about our head, what's the most common place where bacteria get inside of us and cause us to kill? Yeah, exactly, it's the mouth. Because it's the mouth that we eat with. The mouth is connected to the nose. So the most common illnesses is throat infection, respiratory infections, and if we eat contaminated food, we have digestive infections as well. So in fact, this is in fact the biggest risk area, is our mouth, okay? Our mouth, because what's the protection of our mouth? Well, we have saliva, we produce saliva, it has enzymes in it as well that kills off a little bit bacteria, but basically the big job is done by the stomach. The stomach is very, very acidic, and when the food arrives into the stomach, then it kills off most of the bacteria, not always, but indeed our mouth is the most risky area. Then let's go to the genitals. Let's go lower. What is not common at all is a penis infection. It's not common, at least not naturally occurring. If you have a penis infection, it's usually an STD, a sexual transmitted disease. But males, in that sense, we are in fact fine. You don't get like very easily a penis infection of bacteria that just come inside the penis. It's almost impossible. It's not heard of. What is a little bit more common is for you girls, it's a vaginal infection. Very typically, what happens is a bladder infection. Possibly most of you already got that once in your life. It's because not that you're a dirty person or anything. It's just vaginas are more exposed to the external world, and it's more risk to get an infection right there, because it's way more open than the masculine reproductive organ. If we go to the last body opening, the anus, okay, I don't think that any of you have heard of an anus infection, or do you? It's possible though, but it's very, very, very rare. Why is it so rare? Because basically our anus is really sealed off. It works really well. We have two sphincters there. Sphincters are circular muscles that close it nicely off. And secondly, why don't we get an infection there is because it's nicely covered with skin. And on the second thing is that the entrance is very, very long. You have the colon, the small, the large intestine and the small intestine. And I don't know if you know that, but our large intestine, mainly our large intestine, is full of bacteria already. It's really part of our digestive system is having bacteria in your colon, in the last part. The colon is the last part of your digestive system. That's why they sometimes promote probiotica and Yakult and eat yogurt, because it's good for you. Why? Because these products, they have bacteria in it. And basically our whole colon is full of bacteria, which helps us to form our feces. Feces is our excrement, okay? And those bacteria, they are good bacteria because they don't make us ill. But in case that there is bad bacteria coming in, you typically get diarrhea, but usually those bad bacteria are destroyed by the good bacteria, because there is like this competition between them. And this lowers really the risk of getting infections through your anus. It's almost unheard of. And that's a very good thing, because we're really well protected there. So that's it. So let me share the story again. So how are we protected? Well, if you swallow them, we have our, sorry?
And what are the hemorrhoids?
Okay. Hemorrhoids is a problem. How to explain it? So our intestine basically is surrounded by a lot of arteries and veins. Why? Because the nutrients have to be transported from the intestines to the blood, okay? Because we need to absorb the nutrients. And those blood veins, they're everywhere. And they're also at the exit, which is the anus. So hemorrhoids, basically what happens is that those veins, they lose a little bit their strength. So basically what happens, it's double, you know? So one part of hemorrhoids is that your anal sphincter, the muscles that keep your anus closed, they don't have the strength that they need. So one part is basically that the colon comes a little bit out to gravity outside the anus, okay? But this is caused, it doesn't just fall out like that. This is caused because of the swelling of arteries and veins in the anus area. And this is extremely, extremely painful. Hemorrhoids is very, very painful. Usually it naturally goes away if you use a cream or something. Why do you get hemorrhoids? You get hemorrhoids because if you have a job and you're standing straight for a long time. So if you're standing up a long time, it's a thing that could cause hemorrhoids as well. Pregnant women often get hemorrhoids because they have always the pressure of the baby, so they stop. It's so terrible sometimes that they stop having the feeling that they have to. I mean, normally you keep your anus closed without any conscience, okay? But because if you're pregnant, there's so much pressure, sometimes the signal is lost of keeping those sphincters nicely closed. Then there's other reasons, like if you consume a lot of alcohol, it messes up your blood veins as well a little bit, which could cause hemorrhoids. Another reason that can cause hemorrhoids is linked with the consumption of a lot of red meat, because it's so heavy in your intestines and it reacts with it. It's hard to digest, that it could cause also those arteries and those veins to become swollen and have hemorrhoids. There is many different kinds of reasons, guys. There is not just one reason I can say. Some people have reported they get hemorrhoids for eating too much chili. There is people that have reported hemorrhoids because they smoked marijuana, eating red meat, excessive alcohol consumption. Also, there is a genetic factor involved. So if you're in your family there is a lot of hemorrhoids, you're more likely to get it as well. And what else? Yeah, healthy lifestyle, of course. If you're the more obese you are, the more likely you are to have hemorrhoids. But there's many kinds of reasons that could cause it. It's not pleasant at all. It's very painful, and in the worst case scenario, you have to get operated. The other thing that we know about hemorrhoids, that it's way more common in men than in women. But we will talk more about hemorrhoids in the digestive system. Okay. Is that a good answer, or you would like to know anything more in specific?
Thank you. It's okay.
Okay. You could already, I mean, you don't have to answer this, but it's possible that you already got that on at your age, okay? I got it once in my life, and it was also when, no, it was not that young. I think, yeah, I also got it once, and I had really, I think that in my case, it was very painful, and it was because of extreme tiredness. Because I was walking for so many time in the mountains, and my immune system was weak. I was very weak myself, and then all of a sudden it starts being itchy, and then all of a sudden you feel like you have to go to the bathroom, and before you know it, it hurts all the time. And the other thing that is really not nice about it, it can take up to a week before it's gone, depending, could be even longer, but it's not fun. So avoid that. And it's with any disease, right? The more healthy you are, the less chance you have of getting it. So this is what I told you about those bacteria, okay, in the intestines. Also, we have urine. I didn't mention that yet. Urine is also useful, but I did mention that in the boys, that it's difficult to get penis infections just without sexual intercourse, just like that, because, I mean, a normal person urinates every 3-4 hours, and with that, it's not enough time for bacteria to colonize everything. So every time when you urinate, you basically clean up everything, you flush everything out. So that's a good thing. And then in females, we mentioned that you have these acidic secretions and mucus that protect your vagina. I don't know if you do that or not, girls, but don't wash your, I mean, if you wash your vaginas, don't do that with soap, okay? You need that acid. If you go wash outside, okay, with soap, but on the inside, not. So because you neutralize that acid, and if you do this, it can be very itchy, and it can cause, it really increases the risk of getting bladder infection. So be careful with that. And then, yeah, we have those other fluids, tears, urine. This is also interesting, vomit. We are a little bit ashamed about vomiting, but for instance, you feel bad and say, I want to vomit. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to hold it. Yeah, don't do this, guys. If you, for instance, had bad tacos and your body is telling you, I cannot support it, there is something bad in those tacos, as an example, vomit it out. Because it means that your body doesn't want it. It's a natural reflex. You don't have to keep it in or anything. And very often, if you just vomit, you get rid of the problem in 10 minutes, in 10, 15 minutes, you brush your teeth, you wash your mouth, and you feel better again. But if you keep it like that, the problem could last half an hour, and then even later on, you might feel bad. I think we all felt that, no? That you eat something and you say like, no, I'm really feeling bad. I think I have to vomit. If you think that, I mean, just do it. It's definitely not healthy if you're vomiting every day. I'm not recommending vomiting, but if your body is really telling you like, I don't want to have this inside me, vomit could save you from kind of stomach infection, you know? If you vomit it out on time, it's usually better than keeping it there and seeing what happens, you know? So don't be ashamed of that. If you really feel bad, just think like, okay, get it over with and vomit out whatever is bad. But whenever you have vomit, it's not normal. If you vomit, it means that you ate something bad, because it's not natural that you vomit after eating. That's not a good thing, okay? And also don't confuse it with bulimia, okay? Like, I vomit because I don't want to gain weight or something. That's something completely different. That's an eating disorder, which we will also see in the digestive system. But I'm just talking about if you eat something and you feel really bad and it's a stone on your stomach and it had a bad smell or whatever. In those cases, I do think it's a good idea to listen to your body and just expose it. Okay, let's go to the second one, the non-specific barriers, the internal barriers. So basically, this happens when the first line of defense didn't work, okay? The mouth couldn't keep the bacteria out, the ears, the nose, the skin, this failed, and the bacteria are now, or the viruses are now inside of us. So what can the body do? Well, what the body can do is put into action the foot soldiers, okay? And before I start explaining, I wanna see a little video about this, okay? It will explain the second line of defense and the third line of defense, okay? You will see it's a complex video, however, it's simplified, but it's a really nice one. It's of kurz gesagt, and it tells us very, very nicely how important it is. And then we will, I will tell you what you have to know of this, okay? So let's have a look at this. Can you see the video?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Every second of your life, you are under attack.
Billions of bacteria, viruses, and fungi are trying to make you their home. So our bodies have developed a super complex little army with guards, soldiers, intelligence, weapons factories, and communicators to protect you from, well, dying. For this video, let's assume the immune system has 12 different jobs. For example, kill enemies, communicate, etc. And it has 21 different cells and 2 protein forces. These cells have up to 4 different jobs. Let's assign them. Here are the interactions. Now, let's make this understandable. First of all, let's add colors to the jobs. Now, let's illustrate the cells. The central color represents the main job of the cell, while the surrounding ones represent secondary duties. Now, the immune system looks like this. Now, the interactions. Isn't this complexity just awesome? For this video, we will only talk about these cells and ignore the rest. So, what happens in the case of an infection? It's a beautiful day when suddenly a wild rusty nail appears and you cut yourself. The first barrier of the immune system is breached, your skin. Nearby bacteria seize on the opportunity and enter your wound. They start using up the body's resources and double their numbers about every 20 minutes. At first, they fly under the radar, but when a certain bacteria population is reached, they change their behavior and start to damage the body by changing the environment around them. The immune system has to stop them as fast as possible. First of all, your guard cells, known as macrophages, intervene. They are huge cells that guard every border region of the body. Most of the time, they alone can suffocate an attack, because they can devour up to 100 intruders each. They swallow the intruder whole and trap it inside a membrane. Then the enemy gets broken down by enzymes and is killed. On top of that, they cause inflammation by ordering the blood vessels to release water into the battlefield, so fighting becomes easier. You notice this as a very mild swelling. When the macrophages fight for too long, they call in heavy backup by releasing messenger proteins that communicate location and urgency. Neurophiles leave their patrol routes in the blood and move to the battlefield. The neurophiles fight so furiously that they kill healthy cells in the process. On top of that, they generate barriers that trap and kill the bacteria. They are indeed so deadly that they evolved to commit suicide after 5 days to prevent them from causing too much damage. If this is not enough to stop the invasion, the brain of the immune system kicks in. The dendritic cell gets active. It reacts to the signals of the soldiers and starts collecting samples from the enemies. They rip them into pieces and present the parts on their outer layer. Now, the dendritic cell makes a crucial decision. Should they call for antivirus forces that eradicate infected body cells or an army of bacteria killers? In this case, antibacteria forces are necessary. It then travels to the closest lymph node in about a day. Here, billions of helper and killer T cells are waiting to be activated. When T cells are born, they go through a difficult and complicated training process, and only a quarter survives. The surviving cells are equipped with a specific setup. And the dendritic cell is on its way looking for a helper T cell with a setup that's just right. It's looking for a helper T cell that can bind to the parts of the intruders which the dendritic cell has presented on its membrane. When it finally finds one, a chain reaction takes place. The helper T cell is activated. It quickly duplicates thousands of times. Some become memory T cells that stay in the lymph node and will make you practically immune against this enemy. Some travel to the field of battle to help out. And the third group goes on to travel to the center of the lymph node to activate a very powerful weapons factory. Like the T cells, they're born with a specific setup. And when a B cell and a T cell with the same setup meet, hell breaks loose. The B cell duplicates rapidly and starts producing millions of little weapons. They work so hard that they would literally die from exhaustion very fast. Here, helper T cells play another important role. They stimulate the hard-working factories and tell them, "Don't die yet, we still need you. Keep going." This also ensures that the factories die if the infection is over, so the body doesn't waste energy or hurt itself. But what is produced by the B cells? You've heard of them, of course, antibodies. Little proteins that are engineered to bind to the surface of the specific intruder. There are even different kinds of antibodies that have slightly different jobs. The helper T cells tell the plasma cells which type is needed the most in this particular invasion. Millions of them flood the blood and saturate the body. Meanwhile, at the site of infection, the situation is getting dire. The intruders have multiplied in number and start hurting the body. Guard and attack cells fight hard, but also die in the process. Helper T cells support them by ordering them to be more aggressive and to stay alive longer. But without help, they can't overwhelm the bacteria. But now the second line of defense arrives. Billions of antibodies flood the battlefield and disable lots of the intruders, rendering them helpless or killing them in the process. They also stun the bacteria and make them an easy target. Their back is built to connect to killer cells, so they can connect and kill the enemy more easily. Macrophages are especially good at gnoming up the bacteria which antibodies have attached to. Now, the balance shifts. In a team effort, the infection is wiped out. At this point, millions of body cells have already died. No big deal, the losses are quickly replenished. Most immune cells are now useless, and without the constant signals, they commit suicide, so as not to waste any resources. But some stay behind, the memory cells. If this enemy is encountered ever again in the future, they will be ready for it and probably kill it before you even notice. This was a very simplified explanation of parts of the immune system at work. Can you imagine how complex this system is? Even at this level, when we ignore so many players and all the chemistry. Life is awfully complicated, but if we take the time to understand it, we always encounter endless wonders and great beauty.
The video is a little bit simplified because it's way more complex than that, but what you have to know is even less, okay? But I really like the video because I think it's super well done. In fact, I do recommend Kurzgesagt. All those videos are very impressive. In fact, I followed this channel already quite a while on YouTube. So to finish our class of today, tomorrow we will go into more detail about it. The three things that you need to know about the non-specific internal defenses is: one, we have protection by white blood cells. We have something called the inflammatory response, which we'll explain tomorrow, which is typically, you all know inflammatory response. It has 4 characteristics. It becomes red, it's painful, it swells, and red painful swells, and what was it? Yeah, it becomes hot, it's warm. And then the third one is fever. And about fever, I also want to get rid of the idea a little bit that fever is something bad. Fever is a body mechanism to activate your whole immune system. So before we go into detail tomorrow, I would like you to know that fever is something that you have to allow a little bit, okay? It's not a good idea that whenever you have a very little fever that you start taking paracetamol or ibuprofen, because basically this fever is needed to activate the immune system. If you immediately grab those medicines, usually the sickness takes longer than when you say, I allow myself several hours to have a slight fever in order to activate my immune system, especially in young children. However, high fever is dangerous, and we're very fortunate we have those medicines like paracetamol and ibuprofen, because these are the two most common ones that really have a very quick effect on lowering fever, okay? But that's for tomorrow, guys. I wish you a happy afternoon. Eat something nice, and we see each other tomorrow, okay?
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.